Hey guys, just wanted to take this time to talk about trades that could happen before the trade deadline. Mainly just kind of like my wish list of ones that I want to see and ones that I actually think can happen, well, should happen. I don't know if they'll happen because a lot of times teams are stupid. These guys are paid a lot more than us, but often they fail at even the most common sense decisions. As I went around kind of looking at trade possibilities on defense, there is like so many moving parts to it because you have corners, you have the drama and salary that comes with, and often that can be a little bit much to keep up with. Offense, I believe, is more, it's easier to keep up with who teams are in favor of, who they're not in favor of, and who can be dealt. So, yeah, there's a lot of wide receivers I have on this list that can and maybe should be dealt. On defense, I really only have one guy because I believe that his pairing is too perfect with the team that I'm thinking to pass up. But I'm going to give you some of the players. I know the Panthers kind of seem like they're having a fire sale because they're rebuilding now. I don't know if Baker's going to be the stopgap rebuilding quarterback, or Sam Darnold, or even PJ Walker. I don't know. But if you look at the weapons, they traded C-Mac already. Outside of that, they got DJ Moore, big topic right now. And one guy I don't understand why he's not on the field is Terrence Marshall Jr. What happened? Wasn't he he was like their first round pick 2 years ago, and he's not playing hardly at all. Inactive some games, not playing others. I don't understand. Is the coaches not like him? Has he sucked in camp? I don't understand. But so going with the Panthers, we got, like I said, Terrence Marshall Jr. and DJ Moore. DJ Moore has had 1,000 yards the past 2 or 3 seasons, and that's why a lot of people look at it. But if you look at his stats so far this season, they're not great. And I think of this as like a buyer beware. He's never. I will say this: DJ Moore has never had good quarterback play, like ever. His best quarterback was probably Teddy Bridgewater. Um, Even at college in Maryland, his quarterback was awful. I remember watching him, and it was almost inevaluatable. I guess that's right. It was it was like that. He would get open, but you don't know if it was really open. He would never get the ball, and when he did get thrown the ball, it was terrible. So you're like, did he get open before that, and was it a throw it away? Like, what's going on? Because his quarterback was awful. And he's kind of had that in the Panthers. So maybe he'll explode if he gets to another team. That's why I think he needs to go to a team with an established quarterback, not like a young guy. Pretty much a lot of people want him. You know, you look at the Bears, you look at the Jags. Even the Jags receiver core is not terrible, and the Bears have Darnell Mooney. You look at all these people who have young quarterbacks or mid-tier quarterbacks, they don't need it, but like a Jared Goff level. That's not where DJ Moore needs to go. DJ Moore needs to go to a Tom Brady, which he will not go inside the division, so that won't happen. Or Aaron Rodgers, maybe. Just even the Chiefs. That'd be interesting. He needs to go to an established quarterback to really see, is this guy number one? Because I personally don't think he's that top echelon tier. I never think to myself, oh man, we're playing the Panthers. We got to watch out for DJ Moore. It's just like, hey, DJ Moore's a pretty solid receiver. We got to make sure we keep him like under clamps, but I'm not scared to death of DJ Moore. Almost like a Terry McLaurin. People love Terry McLaurin, and I really don't get it. I don't see him take over games. I've seen people like DeAndre Hopkins, even Stephon Diggs now. There are games where receivers will take it over. Antonio Brown would take over a game. Calvin Johnson. There are A.J. Brown. There are games where receivers will take it over, and they cannot be covered, no matter how much you double, triple team them. Cooper Kupp. There are so many examples, but I've never thought that about DJ Moore. And I think it could be a big swing and miss for some teams if they don't have great quarterback play. So there's DJ Moore, Terrence Marshall Jr. Somebody trade for him because that dude I think has huge upside, very big receiver, not bad at running. He could be a big jump ball and deep threat. I think somebody should take a swing on him, get him out of the Panthers, get him out of that dumpster fire. Let's talk about Brian Burns. We got to talk about it. Everyone's talking about it, and honestly, I didn't want to admit to it, but he fits so perfectly with Philadelphia. When I was thinking about it, I was like, what team has the assets to trade for him, are close to being a contender? Because that's the only people that are going to trade for him are people who are trying to be contenders. And have that need at pass rusher. And I was thinking, I was like, Eagles have the Saints' first round pick. That's an asset. Eagles are the best team in the league right now. Contenders. And their best pass rusher is Brandon Graham. They need a pass rusher. Even like with who they played, I don't think they got to Cooper Rush as much as they really could have because that offensive line for the Cowboys is terrible. And I think in the playoffs, they are really going to struggle without that pass rush. And they need to trade for Brian Burns. Simple as that. He would fit perfectly with them. You can get rid of Derek Barnett and a pick. You're probably going to have to send that Saints first round pick. Don't hold on to it. I know you can be building towards the future, but right now you have a short window, where your quarterback is on a rookie deal, and you can make the most out of your cap space. So just trade the first round pick, get Brian Burns, win the Super Bowl. Other players I'd like to mention and just briefly go over. Brandon Cooks. Listen, I'm not saying Brandon Cooks, everyone in the building hates him. The Texans love him because he's the only playmaker in there. Dameon Pierce is also pretty good. So I don't see them trading Brandon Cooks because he's so good for them. But I think he's probably the most underrated wide receiver in the league, and somebody could use him, could trade for him. It almost seems like a Packer move. What am I saying? They never pick up receivers. Elijah Moore requested a trade, wants out of New York. I don't blame him after getting like no targets. This happened to Denzel Mims. The Jets seem like they want to be a running team with Zach Wilson in the defense, and that's fine. I think that's great for Zach Wilson. I also think he could be a slinging all everywhere quarterback, a gunslinger, but he's not ready for that right now, and that's fine. Take it slow. Take him the Russell Wilson route. I think that's perfect for Zach Wilson. But you're hurting your playmakers on the outside and your receivers. Garrett Wilson is phenomenal. Corey Davis is playing pretty well. Elijah Moore's the odd man out. He wants out. Somebody could go trade for him. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a speed guy. I think he could be a good route runner, slot receiver. So Elijah Moore's one. This one I think could surprise some people and I wouldn't say it unless the team performed how bad it has. Darren Waller. I've expected so much from Darren Waller this year, and he's kind of let me down. So if you can trade him, get a high pick, or nobody's giving offensive line away right now. Even defense, something on defense, because they need anything pretty much. I think the Raiders listen. So Darren Waller's my surprise, kind of look out for that. Jerry Jeudy. He seems disgruntled like Melvin Gordon with the Broncos. I think it's possible he could get moved. I personally wouldn't do it because I think Jerry Jeudy's a good player. If I was the Broncos, I'd say the only way that we come back in this season, and if I'm the only way I don't get fired at the end of this season is if we win games because our offense is playing better, and the only way that happens is if Jerry Jeudy plays well. Unless you can get something back for him, like if it was like a Jeudy Elijah Moore swap, that would be interesting. I don't think Jeudy really fits with the Jets, but I don't know if the Jets would even take that. But yeah. Also, speaking of the Jets, Denzel Mims. He's finally going to get some playing time this week from what I hear. But I'm surprised nobody's traded for him yet. But I think that's somebody who still has potential. He's not big like DK, like jacked like DK, but he's tall like DK Metcalf, and he's fast as frick like DK Metcalf. He is a playmaker waiting to explode, but it hasn't been given the opportunity. Like I've said, they seem like they want to run the ball, play defense. That seems like a Robert Saleh motto type thing from a defensive guy. Defensive coaches, except for Sean McDermott, never really want to throw the ball. They want to be like a run and D type team. And Denzel Mims is suffering from it too. And get my man out of there. Get him to a team that will use him. One of the Cowboys running backs, I think, is a good trade possibility here too. I think they're both good. But one thing I noticed is, I mean, they're kind of complementary because Ezekiel Elliott, great vision, great power. He even has some speed. He's not as fast as Pollard, but I mean Zeke is also a good receiving back. I think we forget that, but Pollard is literally like a slot receiver turned into a running back. So he's he's fast. He's a good route runner, good receiver. One thing I will say about him is when he played against the Eagles, I saw lots of holes that he missed. That I'm like, I don't know why you went left into the pile when there's an opening coming open on the right. His vision's not as good as Zeke's. But I think if I'm the Cowboys, I have limited assets. And if one of them is the running backs, if there's a team calling me, let's see, who did I say was available? I don't know why the Panthers would do it, but if they're like, give us Zeke Elliott and a second round pick for DJ Moore, or Zeke Elliott and a first even. If I'm the Cowboys, I say, okay. Because the Cowboys have no receivers. They have CeeDee Lamb. Noah Brown is not a good receiver. I don't get the love for him. He's a possession receiver. Can't run. And it's gonna hurt the Cowboys. We see the loss of Amari Cooper has really hurt them. Kenny Golladay. Is Kenny Golladay ever going to be the Kenny Golladay from Detroit? I don't think so. It's possible. This would be something like go to the Buccaneers and watch Tom Brady revive Kenny Galladay's career. Still waiting for that to happen with Julio, but in the meantime, let's help out Kenny Golladay. Get him out of there. I don't think it's the Giants' fault per se. I think it's a matter of health and attitude from Kenny Golladay as well. But also the Giants are kind of like the Jets where we want to run the ball, play defense. And it's hurt the playmakers. Just like my next guy, Kadarius Toney. I think he's somebody who's actually played well when on the field and targeted. But he hasn't been on the field a lot and he hasn't been targeted a lot. He's somebody that I think could also has great potential if let out of his situation. And some team could really benefit that. Now, and here is the home run surprise. Something I'm surprised nobody's talking about, but I think just makes the most sense. Michael Thomas. For a team to trade their top receiver, they have to be going through like salary cap hell, rebuilding, and when you're rebuilding, you want assets. Or they could be lacking in assets. The Saints, I don't think they're not in salary cap hell that I know of, but they don't have a first round pick and they're rebuilding. Now, I think this depends on if Dennis Allen is really going to stay as the coach, because if he is, he's going to want to keep Michael Thomas. But if he's not, then that's kind of controversial. I mean, he's going to want to play. If they say you get a couple of years, and he's like, well, I'm going to rebuild this thing. And he's like, I'm going to trade Michael Thomas and get as many assets as I can, get a quarterback in here, because they can't draft a quarterback in the first round because they don't have a first round pick. We gave it to the Eagles. It's like a top 10 pick right now. So somebody needs to get Michael Thomas. I think this is a huge opportunity for even like a Packers or a Ravens. Trade your first round pick for Michael Thomas. This is a dude who led the league in receiving. This is an A.J. Brown move. This is your A.J. Brown move that the other teams, everyone talks about, look at what the Eagles pulled off. This is it. This is the player that can be the next A.J. Brown type move. And I think Michael Thomas, I don't want to say better. I think A.J. Brown's faster and maybe gives you a bit more deep ball. But for that slant stuff that's like unguardable, Michael Thomas is the best at it. Man led the league in receiving. Get him to air. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Teams that should be in on these receivers and playmakers. Packers. I think Packers would fit great with Michael Thomas. If they trade for Michael Thomas, trade the first round pick, I think it instantly elevates their team into a playoff team, which right now they're not playing like it. The Ravens, Lamar needs help. There are so many. I just gave so many options. Truly, one of them is not out of their price range. You can do this. You can trade a first round pick for Michael Thomas, and him and Rashad Bateman would be deadly. And J.K. Dobbins, and then Lamar Jackson too. Are you kidding me? That'd be so insane. Cowboys, you could trade a first round pick for Michael Thomas. I don't know why you would do that when you just got rid of Amari Cooper to get out of the salary cap hell I was talking about. You're not going to trade one of the running backs because they have Alvin Kamara, and the Saints wouldn't take that. But they need one of these receivers that I named. Trade for one of them, like a DJ Moore, a Jerry Jeudy. Well, Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb are kind of the same position, like a slot receiver. But, I mean, you can go get Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore. A lot of guys fit there. The Titans, I put them here because it looks like they're going to win the division again, but they're not going to do anything in the playoffs unless they add more playmakers. Treylon Burks is going to take some time to develop. He's not ready right now. Robert Woods is not a number one receiver. He shouldn't be. And I don't know who else Ryan Tannehill is throwing to. If you add one of these receivers, I think instantly your team has a chance to win a playoff game. So, just for fun, let's just say we had DJ Moore there. I think that would be a good fit. And I think it elevates that team. Now, like I said, though, I don't think that's a good idea to put DJ Moore with a mid-tier quarterback like a Ryan Tannehill. But it's something that he could benefit from. I also have the Buccaneers. This is just because of health. I'm like, they have receivers, but none of them are healthy, like, all at once. If you pick up a receiver like a Elijah Moore, you trade a third-round pick for him, second-round pick, if they'll take those. And then you have another receiver that I think would instantly become one of Tom Brady's favorites. I think it would fit great. There's other options. Jerry Jeudy, I think, would be great with Tom. I think Brandon Cooks would be phenomenal. I think that would be great. That would be a steal. If you could trade a second round for him, I don't know if the Texans would take it, but trading a second for Brandon Cooks would be an absolute steal. Now, this is one that I'm very passionate about. And this video has gone kind of long, and I wanted to talk more about this team in this market because this is a team that I've been very mad about how they have prepared to help their young quarterback. And I think this is a great opportunity to change the mistakes that they've made so far. And it's funny because one of the quarterbacks in his draft class has two guys on this list, in Denzel Mims and Elijah Moore. I'm talking about the Chicago Bears. You have Darnell Mooney. Who's the other guy? Equanimeous St. Brown? Yeah, Equanimeous St. Brown. And Cole Kmet, Dave Montgomery, Velus Jones Jr., who botched that punt. Yeah. But I just feel like you should have supported him so much more. Justin Fields, if the Bears are going to be good for the next 5 years, he needs to work out. I think he has all the tools to. I think if you get him at running out bootlegs more, get him on the move, he'll benefit greatly from it. He seems to be a little inaccurate on some things, missing reads. He's always struggled with that, but I think he can do better. Give him some help, please. There are so many guys on this list that I named. Like I said about the Ravens and even the Packers, one of these guys cannot be out of your price range. I just named like 8-10 guys. Go get one of them. There's Michael Thomas. You think you're gonna get a better player than Michael Thomas with that first round pick? I don't. That offensive line is terrible, but you have building blocks at least. I don't think you have any building blocks at receiver. Dave Montgomery is a building block at running back. Tevin Jenkins is a building block at guard. The rookie left tackle has actually played solid. Receiver Darnell Mooney, we thought was going to be a number one receiver. He's not. He's a number two, and you need that alpha number one. you can get. I don't want DJ Moore to go there. I don't think that's a good fit for him personally. But DJ Moore would be better than Equinemius St. Brown. I think Michael Thomas would be great. It'd be a quick one read play for Justin Fields, just throw a quick slant. But there are so many other receivers on this list that you can get. Elijah Moore would be fantastic. Brandon Cooks, who's used to playing with young quarterbacks and elevating them. Kenny Galladay is an interesting, not one I would explore if I was the Bears, but there are so many options. Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy would be a good one, actually. But there are so many options for this team. Go and get one of them. Please help Justin Fields. I know you have a lot of money to spend next free agency. There are a lot of guys on this list you don't have to pay big bucks for. Just trade for them. Elijah Moore is on a rookie contract. Give up a third, even a second. Give up a second-round pick. I'm sure the Jets will take it because that's what they spend. And your second-round pick is probably going to be about the same that they had when they drafted him. I think they probably had the second-round pick, so maybe not that high, but offer it. I think it's worth it. And elevate Justin Fields. I think your team will instantly be better, open up a lot more in the playbook. You're not going to win your division, but you're going to have something to build upon. You still have that free agency money to spend next year. You're going to be missing a second-round pick, but you know what? I think Elijah Moore is going to be more beneficial for your team than that second-round pick. And normally you have to weigh out the salary and the pick. You don't have to worry about the salary because it's not a lot. He was a second-round pick, and he's still on that deal. Trade for Elijah Moore. I think that's such a perfect fit. Even Denzel Mims, good fit. But Denzel Mims, a lot of people aren't going to trade for because he's going to be a free agent. I believe after this year, maybe it's one more. I don't know. But trade for Elijah Moore, Bears. Please trade for a receiver. That's all I got, guys. I just want to talk about that. So thanks for watching, and hit like and subscribe. See ya.